Thank you. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to the monthly sewer commissioners meeting. It's our regularly scheduled meeting here for April 13th, 2021, and was scheduled to begin at 6 p.m. Before we start, I have something to read here in accordance with the governor's order. As the chair of the Goffstown Sewer Commission and due to the COVID-19 outbreak, and in accordance with the Governor Sununu's emergency order number 12 pursuant to executive order 2020-04, this board is authorized to meet electronically. Please note there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to the meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, this is to confirm that we are the Goffstown Sewer Commission. We are utilizing a telephone conference line and Microsoft Teams for this electronic meeting. The public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if necessary, participate in the meeting through dialing the following telephone number, 766-5646, using the participant code 785645, followed by the pound sign. The town previously gave notice to the public of how to access the meeting using the available telephone number with the posted agenda. If anybody has a problem with telephone access, please call 603-660-5000. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting, we will adjourn the meeting and have it rescheduled at a later time. Please note that all votes are taken during this meeting shall be done by roll call vote. We'll begin the roll call vote attendance, and when each member states their presence, also state whether there is anyone in the room with you during this meeting, which is required under the right to know law. I am Tim Redmond. I am the chair of the Goffstown Sewer Commission, and I am alone in the room. Commissioner Pierce.
David Pierce, Commissioner. Yes, I'm alone. And Lynn, I'm having internet connectivity problems this evening, so if I drop out, I may phone in on the public line, so pay attention to your console.
Okay, I will. And one other, before we continue this, I just wanted to say the number that you gave, if there are any problems during the meeting, it changed, so the 5,000 number is not the correct number anymore. If you have any problems during the meeting, please call 603-488-6783. Again, it's 603-488-6783.
Thank you for that correction, Lynn.
You're welcome.
Dave Pierce, if you do get locked out and you get in between phone calls, please let us know and we can back up to the point where you got separated. Commissioner Taylor.
Daniel Taylor, Commissioner. I am alone in the room.
Thank you. Mike Trank.
Michael Trank with Hoyle Tanner and Associates, and I am alone in the room.
Selectman Bowen.
Chet Bowen, Select Board Rep, and I am designated to be here for the next year as well, and I am alone in the room.
Thank you. We're glad to have you back. How about, who else is on the line, Lynn, that is accessing the meeting?
Corey and myself.
Okay.
Corey?
All right, so Corey, you be next.
Corey Wyke, Public Works, and I am alone in the room.
And Lynn?
Lynn Pooler, Sewer Secretary, and I am alone in the room.
And do we have anyone else that's on the line tonight that is going to participate?
We do. We have Adam Vermakowitz from Green Thumb Landscaping.
Mr. Vermakowitz, could you please identify yourself and let us know if you're alone?
Hi, my name is Adam Vermakowitz, and I am alone in the room.
Thank you. Tonight, we have used the selector to raise your hand if you want to speak, or if you're in the phone. photo. You can put your hand with things that are going on. So if you want to speak, just sort of out, and then I will recognize that person to speak rather than everyone trying to speak at the same time. Okay, with that said, the next thing we normally do is we have a period of public comment. So at this time, I will open the phone lines and the team meeting for public comment.
There are no calls.
Okay, we will hold public comment open until later in the meeting, probably the end of the meeting in case someone had a difficult time calling. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the March 10th, 2021 meeting. Do we have any corrections or changes? And if none, I'd ask for a motion from one of the two commissioners.
This is David. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from March 10th.
Motion's been made. Commissioner Taylor?
I approve.
You want to second it?
Oh, I second. Sorry.
Thank you. So the motion's been made and seconded. If there's any discussion on the motion or changes to the minutes. Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote. Commissioner Pierce?
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
And chair votes yes. Move on to new business. First item of new business is in any election, after an election, we have election of officers for the year. I would open the floor for nominations at this time.
What?
We start with the chair and then we'll move on to the vice chair. So if someone else is interested in being the chair, let me know. Otherwise, I would offer him to serve as chair for another year.
Tim, I was waiting for you to volunteer. I will gladly put your name forward on the slate for the chair of the commission.
Okay, the nomination for chair has been made for Tim Redmond to serve another year by Commissioner Pierce.
I'll
We'll
second.
need a second on that.
I will second.
Okay, it's been made and seconded. So we'll call for a roll call vote. Commissioner Pierce?
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
And I thank you for the nomination, and I will vote for myself. I'd like to nominate Commissioner Pierce for vice chair for the coming year, as he is the second longest serving member of the commission.
I will second.
Okay, was that you, Daniel, or is that someone else?
Daniel Taylor, second.
Thank you. I didn't hear it.
Yep.
Okay, so the motion's been made and seconded for vice chair. We'll have a roll call vote. Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Commissioner Pierce?
Dave votes yes.
Thank you. So that takes care of that. Okay, the next item on our agenda is new business. Goffstown Green Thumb Landscaping, Adam Vermakowitz is asked to be on the agenda. Lynn, could you give us an update as to why Mr. Vermakowitz would like to be on the agenda?
He is opening a landscape business across from Irving on Master Road, and he is interested in putting an ice cream window in.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Vermakowitz, would you like to speak to your application, please? Or your request, I should say. It's not an application at this time.
Yes, we are opening up a retail / garden center across from the Irving. And part of the retail side of it, I would like to be able to sell ice cream cones, be able to scoop ice cream. And I was told that I needed to discuss with the sewer commission what I need to do in order to, I guess, change it from a retail sewer to, I guess it's a restaurant style and sewer permit. And that's what I'm here for tonight.
Okay, thank you. Just to be as brief as possible right out the gate, if you are changing it for a different use, you're going to be liable for an accessibility fee based on the amount of water you're going to be discharging into the system. Plus, you'll also have to pay additional sewer use charges on your quarterly bill, which is billed twice a year, but it's actually a quarterly bill. So what we would want to do then is we would ask you to give some information to Corey White, who is our sewer foreman, either by way of Lynn or probably by way of Lynn would be the best way to do it, the sewer secretary. So we're going to need to know some material, how many employees you intend to have, what your estimated discharge is going to be, because there's a whole formula based on our sewer use ordinance which dictates what these charges would add up to. So is that something you think you could provide at a time to our staff?
Yes, I will get a hold of both Corey and Lynn and find out the proper forms and what I need to get to you guys.
So I'm going to bring Corey in on this. Corey, do you have any information that you can share with Mr. Vermakowicz to help him get through his process to determine what his fees and use charges may be?
We've been in contact a little bit already, and I'm basically just waiting to find out if they're going to be required to have ice cream dippers or not. That's kind of the key to the flow increase.
If you don't mind, from my understanding, what I've been researching is I do not need flow dippers.
Okay.
All right. So when you get all the parts and pieces of this nailed down, if you could provide the sewer department with the information, we can work with, actually Corey and Lynn will work with you to come up with some figures for what these additional costs will be to begin this business at that site.
Okay.
Then it'll all be followed by an application in the end once you either accept what the costs are going to be or reject. So because I don't know what are going to be, but I just want you to know that you're not locked into anything. This is simply an inquiry on your part, as I assume. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Good. Is there anything else that we can help you with tonight to help you try to figure out which direction you're going to be going? Do you need any additional information?
No, right now. I will get with Lynn and Corey, and I will get them the information and try to get everything put back together so we can move forward.
Sounds good. Thank you for coming. Thanks for calling, checking in with us. It's required, although a lot of people don't do it, to come to the sewer commission before they do anything. We do have the flow in line. Don't hang up yet, Corey. We have the flow. I should have asked. We have the flow in the line to accept this, correct?
Yes.
Good, because that's one of the criteria for being allowed to add on to the sewer lines in the town of Goffstown. All right,
Mr. Chairman, I have a question about the concept here.
Please.
And I believe this for maybe Lynn or Corey. I don't recall if we have any other connection in town which is a simply ice cream service by itself with no other restaurant preparations.
Devrance is like that, aren't they?
No,
I don't think Devrance is hooked to the sewer.
No,
they may not be. Yeah.
The only one that has ice cream in the village is Putnam's has ice cream, but I don't know what we're doing with it.
They're different because they're a restaurant and they have other.
They're a full service restaurant.
Yeah.
So, Commissioner Pierce, are you willing to look into this request as well, and maybe you can shed some light for both Corey Lynn and this request from Mr. Vermakowicz to try to assist with the calculations? Or
yes,
try to at least try to it in?
I will work with Lynn and Corey. As you know me, Tim, I tend to be conservative, and that's why I was asking if there's any precedence in this situation, and
absolutely,
so we can make a decision. Thank you. That's it.
Commissioner Taylor, do you have anything to add to this conversation at this point? We haven't heard from you.
Not at this time.
Okay. And how about Selectman Bowen?
Yeah, the only thing I have to add is that I'm very pleased that the information was given to the applicant and that we're following the correct process. So this is good news. Thank you.
This is the new sewer commission.
Huh?
Thank you. I say this is the new and improved sewer commission.
I like it.
Okay. So, Mr. Vermakowitz, we're gonna let you get off the line unless you just want to stay and listen, but you seem to have plenty of people plugged into this to try to assist you.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, sir. All right, we're gonna go to old business on the agenda now. First, okay, the first business is East Union Pump Station. The topic for East Union Pump Station is the porta potties. Just to get Commissioner Taylor up to speed, last summer with the pandemic, we had a lot of people from Goffstown and surrounding towns using the property down there to access the river. It's not a designated recreation spot in town. However, it seems to have found its way into the public eye and people like to go down there and use it. The bad side was that we had large gatherings down there of people and vehicles. They were there later in the night and the noise down there is across the river, and several residents across the river probably heard them very loudly. I know one actually spoke to me about the noise down there at night. The bigger problem was that there was no porta potties down there, and people were using the woods for their business in the woods, and that's unsanitary, and we did not want to have that continue. The last part of it was trash. There was a lot of trash left around, to which Corey White used to go down there and scout the area and clean up the trash. So we've been having a long discussion about this in the sewer commission, and the discussion sort of boiled down to a concept of a gate on the property that, number one, would restrict the vehicles driving down to the river, and then there would be the subject of a porta-john being left at the site for the duration of the summer, so that people had a place to use for their business. The gate, in my mind, is a good thing because it still allows the public to access the river with canoes and kayaks and just on foot, but it keeps the vehicles from going down into the lower area there, which is only 20 feet from the river. And I'm just concerned that we may have an environmental hazard down there someday. So I would like to, in my opinion, I think we should limit the vehicular traffic on the gravel area below, but still allow them to park on the pavement up top and access the river. So with that, I'm going to go to Commissioner Pierce to put his thoughts into the process.
Tim, I believe you were indicating that beyond where you would turn left to go towards the brick building, at that point, there may be a gate erected, and then Corey would have New England boulders to the left and right of that?
Yes, we looked at the area, Corey and I did, and there's a choke point down there where we could put the gate in the gravel portion of the driveway, not on the paved portion. And with the placement of 1 or 2 boulders, we could stop vehicles from driving around the gate to go down to the bottom. That was what Corey and I looked at.
I would find that acceptable, and then we would also put a signage in front of the gate with the fence that's around the building. We would have to have a no parking zone at that location.
I concur.
And
we could
and
work
in
out.
that case, then continuing along that thought, if we were so inclined to put a potty there. I can't say it. Portable potty. It would be best to have it somewhere up nearer the brick building rather than on the lake shore.
Well, that would be a discussion we could have as long as we concur that a porta potty should be placed at the site,
Yeah,
which I think
so
seems to be the.
If the first action is a gate, I would endorse that action.
Commissioner Taylor, have you get the gist of what's going on down there?
Commissioner Taylor, you're on mute.
So the gate would go right where it converts to gravel and then boulders across the lawn?
Yes.
Okay. And is it our responsibility to be deciding if a porta potty goes down there or not? Or would it be the select board or someone else?
Well, that's the next part of the discussion, which I hadn't got to yet. I was trying to sort of frame the discussion here, and then I was going to talk about the porta potty after we sort of all understood about the gate. And
So,
concurred.
Tim, I think we have a consensus on a gate where the gravel starts. The next issue, of course, is the porta potty.
I was going.
I would agree with the gate. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So what I wanted to propose to the commissioners is that we ask the Board of Selectmen to include it in the budget for the Parks Department, because they get porta potties and they have them all over different locations in the town where recreational activities are occurring. And I would ask the commissioners if they would concur that we would ask the Board of Selectmen to use their vendor and place the potty down there and be responsible for the cleaning, the maintenance, and the payment of said porta potty. And hopefully they would concur with that, but that is a request at the Board of Selectmen level. So I'm opening that up for discussion now. Dave, are you there?
Yes, my connection dropped for 30 seconds. I assume we're talking about the porta potty again.
Yeah, I was saying that I was going to request that the Board of Selectmen put it on their contract with the rest of the ones that they use through Parks and Rec, and they would be responsible to place it, pay for it, and have it cleaned.
Then why would I object to that?
I'm supposed to get back to Derek Horn with a consensus from the commission tonight. And if the commission's consensus is to ask the selectmen to pay for it, I didn't want to speak for everyone else. I wanted to make sure we discussed it and everyone had their say on it. So I got your say. How about you, Commissioner Taylor?
Yeah, I would support that.
All right. So is it agreeable with everyone? And I'll ask you to give me a yay or a nay that I will speak with Derek Horn, inform him of our plans for the gate, which we will pay for, and then I will request that the Board of Selectmen provide the porta potty and the cleaning. So, Commissioner Taylor, yay or nay?
Yay.
Yay. And Commissioner Pierce?
Yes, proceed with that line.
So I'm going to turn this discussion to Selectman Bowen for a comment from Selectman Bowen.
Yeah. So this conversation, as you know, goes back to, I think it was at least sometime last summer. I know that the select board informally had no issues with the gate going up through conversations. Then the select board has one member change since. But I think that the strategy to put in the porta potty and ask the select board if we're willing to do that is a good strategy. I think it makes sense. There's other places where there are porta potties that we take care of it. So I think that's a good way to get it done. So I certainly, if I speak 1 out of 5, I support it. So we'll see what happens.
All right. So what I'm going to do then, I'm going to get back to Derek Horn and ask him to put myself on the agenda so that I can make this presentation to the Board of Selectmen. Okay. So the next item was the bids for East Union and Lewis Street. So I'm going to go to Mike Trank, and we'll talk about East Union and where we are with East Union Pump Station. Mike, the floor is yours.
Well, are we talking about the structural? Yeah, I think we must be talking about the structural. So we submitted a proposal to the Sewer Commission to complete a structural evaluation of East Union Street Pump Station, Riverview Park Pump Station, and Elm Street Pump Station. And based on that evaluation, present some recommendations to the Sewer Commission for any repairs that would be needed to, repair any structural defects or deficiencies.
Now, did you send that to my email or did you send that to Lynn, Mike?
I'm pretty sure I sent that to everybody's email.
Okay.
Yes.
So I did not open that. I apologize. I don't know if anyone else has seen it, but we will review that and get you either a yay or a nay on to get started on. I'm sure it'll be a yes, because we need to take care of East Union Pump Station. And then how about the roof? Are we going to have you look at the roof as well, Mike?
Yes.
The water issues with the roof?
We
Okay,
included that in the in our proposal.
Okay. The Lewis
Mr.
Street
Chairman.
project. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yes, I remember receiving an email that indicated an expense for every one of those structural analysis that Mike Trank's firm would do. Shouldn't that be something we continue our discussion with this evening and not put it off for a month?
Well, I'd be happy to. I just haven't read the email. So if you'd like to lead the discussion, I would happily continue with it based on what you're going to tell me.
And now I'm at a loss because I didn't print it off. I'm not sure if Lynn, you had a copy that you could display on your screen.
I don't, and I don't know how to get to my email from here. Danielle did it last time. There's this.
Commissioner Pierce, may I speak now?
Yes.
The bids for the East Union Pump Station repair, these are not critical. So if we did have to delay it for 30 days until our next meeting, it's not going to cause any further damage or any problems at the pump station. I probably should have read those emails and had it available for discussion tonight. I apologize. So if the commission will bear with us, we can talk about this in detail at our next monthly meeting, if everyone concurs.
That's great, Mr. Chairman. Put it on the agenda for next month with an intention of accepting the contract or having a counter argument.
Okay. So Lynn, would you please make sure that finds its way onto the agenda?
Yes.
Thank you.
If you decide you want to walk through it tonight, I could share my screen.
All right, Mike, go ahead. If you want to just give us a brief overview of it, that'd be great.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
I just have your initials on there. Well, if you want to make your presentation, go ahead, Mike. I don't have the figures on my screen, but I can just listen for now.
You can't see.
Okay.
You can't see it, Tim?
No, it didn't come through. It might come through later, but it's not here now. Does Commissioner Taylor have it?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
This
Everybody-
is Dave.
I have
Yes,
it open anyways.
I see Mike's screen. Eventually he'll enlarge appropriate portions so we can read it.
How's that?
Much better.
So Mike, why don't you just proceed? I don't have it on my screen, but I'll listen for now because this is a presentation. We're not going to vote on it, I don't think, tonight.
All right. I'll try to keep it reasonably brief. Basically, we stated our understanding of the project and the background. We're certainly familiar with all three of these pump stations. East Union Street Pump Station started out as a wastewater treatment facility and then was converted to a pump station. Elm Street Pump Station was built in 1956. That actually is the subject of an upgrade project that we're working on now. So any structural repairs could be added to that project construction by change order. And in Riverview Park, we designed that one back in the 1980s. So we have the drawings for that one. And, the information for the slab design. And that was designed to support a fiberglass structure. So it's fairly straightforward analysis just to confirm that it, could support a precast concrete structure. So in the scope of services, we state what we'll be doing for East Union Street. We'll evaluate any existing information, pictures, reports, any of that kind of thing. We'll conduct the necessary field observations to determine the extent of deterioration of the roof and identify potentially compromised elements of the roof structure. We'll conduct field observations of the interior of the structure and assess the extent of damage to the walls caused by previous leaking, and then develop concept level recommendations for repair or replacement of roof structure, as well as any related supports or other structural components. Elm Street, pretty much it's limited to looking at the existing building structure, CMU blocks, siding, entry door, and frame. It's been hit by plows a couple of times. So we'll take a look at that and try to assess the extent of the damage there. And then based on what we see as extent of damage, we'll make the appropriate recommendations for repair for the consideration of the commission. In Riverview Park, I think I already pretty much explained, we'll evaluate mostly our previous information, but any other documents that might be available, and then conduct an on-site field evaluation to just confirm, all of the as-built information. As a deliverable for this, we would develop a memorandum summarizing the results of our findings and our recommendations for repair work, structural repair work at each of the three pump stations. We state a number of assumptions, and then we broke down our proposal by task. Each pump station itself is a task. So East Union Street, Elm Street, Riverview Park, and then preparation of the memorandum. So the total lump sum proposal is 13.9.
Okay, thank you. Now, can you break them out for us in the document at some point, Mike, or is this a lump sum for all three?
They're broken out right now on the screen.
Yeah,
Okay.
basically we're saying East Union Street is task 1, and that's 4150. Task 2 is Elm Street is task 2, that's 3200. And Riverview Park is task 3 for 3750. And in preparation of recommendations and a memorandum is the 2800.
Okay, good. I just didn't have that. That's why I asked you, Mike. Thank you. Does
Yep.
any of the commissioners have questions for Mike Trank at this time? Or shall we hold questions for our next meeting? I'm going to open it up to the floor. We'll start with Commissioner Pierce.
My question is for you, Mr. Chairman. What's the budget status for taking on this expense?
Well, in terms of budget, we have money for maintenance and repairs in lines in our budget. We also have the authority to appropriate money out of our capital reserve funding at any time to do projects, and we just have to appropriate the money by way of the trustees of the trust fund. So if the work needs to be done, we will find a way to fund it. It could be funded within our existing budget this year, but we'd have to look at the line items with Lynn and come up with, find out what we've used so far and what we project to use. So it'd be nice to stay within our budget, but we can have Lynn prepare some information for us for the next meeting, telling us what's available based on the funding requests and what lines, what's available. Okay, sir?
Thank you.
Commissioner Taylor, do you have any questions at this time on these 3 items?
No questions at this time.
Now we're hoping to pick your brain a little bit too, as far as the Riverview pump station, because that had a fiberglass structure on a concrete slab.
Yep.
Now we're talking about using a precast concrete structure to replace it. So when the time comes for this to be vetted, I would ask you for your expert opinion on this matter when the time comes.
Yep, no problem.
And we might even ask you about possibility of whether lightweight concrete is available. I've heard of it, but I don't know if it meets structural requirements for a building or not. So if you can think about that and have those types of answers at the forefront for future discussions, I would greatly appreciate it.
Yep.
Great. All right, Mike. The next one is the Lewis Street. We commissioners, I circulated your request for that document to begin, the work on that, and everyone is encouraged. So we're ready for a formal vote on that funding request tonight. So, do you have anything you want to, Mike Frank, is there anything you want to add to that? But everyone has received it and read it.
I don't think so. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, I'll open the floor to questions from the commissioners regarding the Lewis Street funding for the work over there. Anybody have any questions for Mike Trank?
This is Dave. Once again, I don't have the bid in front of me to make a motion to accept it. So I need some help here from Mike. What was the bottom line? And
bear with me for 1 second and I will answer that.
Lynn, while he's researching what's available on his computer, it would have been helpful with the distribution of the agenda to have the documents we, listed that we needed to refer to.
Sure, I didn't realize what exactly we were going over tonight. Sorry about that. I knew we were discussing the stuff, but I didn't.
That's my fault. I should have been more explicit, Lynn, when I asked you to put these items on the agenda. My fault.
That's all right.
Do you want me to share my screen, or do you just want me to give you the number?
Either way is good, Mike, because we've all seen it in your email.
So all of the tasks 1 through 6 plus expenses, the total is $13,250.
And that amount will bring us to biddable plans, Mike?
It actually brings you through bidding. So it's preparation of the plans and specifications. It's getting the approval from New Hampshire DES. And our original proposal, we had only included design, but based on a conversation we had, you wanted to include bidding phase, so we added that as well. So it brings you through actual receipt and evaluation of the bids for construction with our recommendation to you for award of the contract. So we stop short at actual construction phase services.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I assume you want to move forward now.
Give me one more second to say something on the subject, if you would, please. Adam Jacobs and Eric Gustafson and Sarah all went out and looked at Lewis Street this past week. I emailed for information. I did not receive any, but it seemed to me that the cost sharing for the drainage that needs to be repaired is going to be very similar to what they discussed. They were going to provide all the drainage materials, and we would provide the labor in our contract, since some of the drainage has to be torn out for us to install the sewer. But I still want to talk with them because they didn't give me an answer, because some of the drainage appears not to be in the sewer line construction area based on the plans that I saw. Mike Trank, I'm going to ask you that question. Is some of the drainage not going to be disturbed by the sewer construction?
I'd have to look at the drawings.
Okay, well, it seems to me
the two pipes sort of, they're close together at one point, and then they kind of meander apart, but
right.
They're still relatively close, I think.
Well, I think that DPW is and I'm not going to speak as gospel right now, but it sounds to me like they would like us to do the drainage upgrades as part of our contract. And then if I heard it correctly, they're going to pay for all the asphalt paving down there. So we would not be responsible for any paving in our bid. So if that's the case, we would have to accept that as a commission, that agreement, but I have to get the details from Adam for the other commissioners to look at. So we can share that information with you, Mike, as soon as it's available based on what DPW tells us, okay?
Sure.
Okay. So did you hear that, Dave and Daniel? Did you hear what I said about DPW's offer?
Yes.
So I take it from that the information you just presented, Tim, will modify one or several of the tasks 1 through 6 that Mike has brought up. Is that correct, Mike? I mean, it sounds premature that you would ask for bids now, because some of the tasks are not going to be an expense of the commission.
All we're really talking about is the paving, right?
Yes, that's the only thing that'll be different. We had talked about DPW providing drainage materials and structures if needed, and the gravel for the road, and we were going to split the paving. Now it appears that since the drainage is not going to be completely affected by the sewer line, while our contractor is there, it would seem that DPW is asking us to get the drainage replaced at the same time, and then they were going to pay for all the paving. So I have to iron that out, and if that's going to adjust your tasks, Mike, we can make a motion to accept what you have now, but we can always do an addendum. Is that right, Mike, if we have to change something slightly?
Yeah, you could. I don't think it's going to be much of a change, to be honest. What we're talking about is eliminating 2 bid items, really.
Okay.
Temporary paving and permanent paving. So that, that affects the specifications, but, all we'd really be doing is eliminating the specifications section for the paving. So.
All right. And I would ask that DPW provide the inspection for the drainage portion of that and not have us be responsible, because it is going to be their drainage. So I'll work on that with Adam Jacobs and see what he's amenable to, and I will report back at the next meeting. But at least this gets you, if we do this tonight, this keeps you moving on the Louis Street project, correct, sir?
Mr. Chair, would you like a motion?
Yes, I would, please.
A motion to accept a proposal offered by Hoyle Tana and for the chairman to sign a contract for work on Lewis Street, specifically tasks 1 through 6, with a cost of $13,250.
Okay, the motion's been made. Do I have a second?
I second.
Motion's been made and second. Any discussion on the motion? Before we vote on it, Selectman Bowen, do you have anything that you'd like to add? I know you're not an actual voting member on this, but I would appreciate your opinion if you have any opinions.
I don't have anything to add. I think you guys are doing everything correctly, so thank you for asking.
Okay. So the motion's been made. We'll have a roll call vote on the motion. Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Commissioner Pierce,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. So Mike, if you could make sure it's whatever you need signed is clean and send it to Lynn so she can print it, then I will make arrangements to go down to Lynn's office and sign it and get it back to you.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the one I sent you is signable, but I'll just confirm that with Lynn.
Well, I'm more like Fred Flintstone with a computer, so I don't think I can sign it and get it back to you. I'll probably have to physically sign a copy and have it sent to you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. The next item on our agenda is authorizations. We have a warrant. Lynn, do we have to make arrangements to stop in and see you to sign a warrant?
Yeah, I don't have the warrant actually ready, but I do have the sewer easement was approved by the select board last night, and I have that to be signed. So you can come in and sign that.
Oh, the one for the Factory Street property? What easement are you talking
I
about?
think Woodland Heights, I believe, is the one that
Oh,
is approved,
okay.
or Woodland Village.
Yeah, we can get that signed. So could you explain that to the other commissioners so they can know what's going on and everybody can, does it need one signature or all signatures, Lynn?
I will send an email after this meeting and let you know if it's one or all. I forgot it upstairs and I don't remember. I didn't look at it.
Commissioner Taylor, Woodland Village is a big condo project going in off of Bog Road, but the sewer goes through the woods. It's pumped through the woods over to Mountain Road. The people who are developing the property extended the sewer main on Mountain Road to accept this in preparation for this project all at their expense. So this is a project that has been going on in Goffstown since 2009. And now they're finally ready to build on the site. So that's what that is. And if you have any questions about that, Lynn can help you access documents through the planning office so you can see what's going on with that project if you'd like to know what's going on.
Okay, thank you.
Very good.
Tim, the
yes,
select board last night reviewed, I believe, 6 different easements concerning the residents at Hadley Falls, otherwise known as the old factory site.
Okay.
And the select board, in the review, they approved the sewer easement that goes through that property, but the actual easement document would be signed by you.
So it's
So,
Hadley
you-
Falls, not Woodland Village.
So it's not Woodland Village we're talking about? What are we talking about?
Correct. I'm looking at the document now that the
Okay.
select board reviewed last night.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll stop in and see you, Lynn, and I'll get things signed for you so that it's taken care of.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dave, for that clarification.
Well, I'm not sure if you have the authority yet to sign it. I believe would be a motion.
All right, then. Would you like to, is there anything that needs to be reviewed in your opinion, Dave, or is it ready for a motion?
Just let me find it. It's in the packet from last night.
Take your time. Hey, Lynn,
Yep.
could you please put together a master phone list for all parties concerned here with the sewer commission and put it on a document and email to everyone so that everyone knows how to contact other people? Not because we want to have illegal meetings, but sometimes you need to call someone for a reason or another. So
Yep.
if you could put a list together for the sewer commission and all interested parties, including Mike Frank and Corey and Selectman Bowen and whoever else is willing to give up a phone number or just for general purposes, including yourself, so that we all can know how to get in touch with each other.
Okay, I can do that.
Thank you.
Yes, Tim,
Yes.
the easement document that the select board reviewed last night was the one that we've been kicking around for over a month now. We've discussed it at a previous meeting. I think you recall that the width of the easement going through the former factory site touches 1 or 2 feet of a corner of the 3-story brick building. Does that
Yes,
ring a bell?
I remember we discussed that at a meeting. Yes. we
And
felt it-
Corey was advising us that if there had to be work on that line going through the easement, that the line is sufficiently away from the foundation of the building that the intrusion of the building into the easement would not be of any concern replacing the sewer line.
I remember that conversation and we all concurred that it was acceptable in our opinion as commissioners.
And you made a motion at the last meeting saying that Tim could sign it.
Okay, then we're all set. The select board reviewed it last night, found no problem with it. So Tim, you're free to go.
Thank you. Just one other topic, because I know it's been kicked around, and I met again with Derek Horn about the easements that are on the Elm Street pump station property. And Derek said that he sent me an email a while back and I didn't get it, in my opinion, so he resent it to me, and I will report on the easements at the next monthly meeting to give everyone information about those easements.
This
All right.
is the easement that would enlarge the parking lot that we have in front of the Elm Street building.
We have to request that additional easement from the landowner in conjunction with a purchase and sale offer to buy all the easements and the property from that person to make the sewer pump
Yep.
property all under the jurisdiction of the sewer department.
Thank you for clarifying it. Yes.
Okay. Other business as warranted. I have one thing. Does anybody have anything for other business as warranted?
No.
Okay. I will stay here. I am hoping to get the Board of Selectmen to agree to begin our in-person meetings after June 1st. The motion at the Board of Selectmen was to review that date on June the 1st. And I'm hoping that with the guidance of the Board of Selectmen and hoping things are continuing to improve, that we can resume our in-person meetings in the month of June. Does anyone else have anything on that subject or like to add to it? Commissioner Pierce or Commissioner Taylor?
Nope.
Okay.
Thank you, Tim. Please proceed and do that.
Okay. Does Selectman Bowen have anything on this topic?
Yeah, so if you watched the select board meeting last night, we asked the fire chief about COVID cases in Goffstown. He said right now we're at 26, very low. We're doing very well. Millions of people are being vaccinated per day. And Tim, I think you'll be happy to hear, and I hope that I'm saying this correctly, but as I recall, the review will be May 1st as opposed to June 1st, which what that means to me is that we're going to be looking at this at the next select board meeting at the end of April, probably to review it. If I am wrong, I apologize. Again, I speak for one of five and certainly stand by majority rules in the select board, but with schools going back, already back April 19th, with vaccines coming through, my personal thought would be that we would likely, as you, Tim, and some other boards have requested, I'd likely have a very serious discussion about allowing those boards to return to meetings in person, with my own personal preference. What I will also say at the meeting being that we still allow for those who may be uncomfortable or may feel a little bit like they would like to still participate remotely, that we can do that as long as the governor's emergency order is in place. But I think with the schools going back, my preference would be to go back to allowing each committee to make that decision for themselves and allow for certain people to be hybrid. So again, I speak 1 out of 5, but that's where I stand on it.
Thank you. It seems to me that when I attended the meeting that night and spoke against it, it seems to me that Selectman Georgantis stated they were going to review it on June the 1st. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what the minutes stated. But my memory could be wrong. It has been in the past.
Lynn, I will get clarification from Derek and look back through the meetings, but Lynn and Tim, I will let you both know prior to the second select board meeting this month about what that official date is.
Thank you, Chet.
Thank you, Chad.
Sure.
The sooner the better.
Does anyone have any other business for the commission tonight before we ask for a motion to adjourn? Corey, do you have anything in there? I haven't heard much from you tonight.
Yes, I do. I have a couple things.
Please.
Speaking of easements, we have a bunch of easements around like Pinardville and the village and everything. And part of that whole CMOM deal is you're supposed to inspect your easements. So I printed out a list and I actually started looking at some of them, and some of them are actually heavily wooded, especially one in Pinardville on Laurel Street. There's like 8-inch trees growing over the whole thing. That's something we're probably going to have to look at sooner or later to have these easements cleared the trees and everything off them. Just to make you guys aware. I'm going to take pictures of everything and put something together so you can actually see it, but just to make you aware, I mean, there shouldn't be any trees or anything over any of our stuff, so.
Well, I suggest you do an audit like you said you're going to do and report on each easement and make recommendations for each of the easements, if you would, please.
Yeah, we have like 112 of them, believe it or not.
You don't have to do them all next week, Corey.
And the other thing.
Corey, are you going to allow the commissioners to harvest the cordwood?
Actually, the one on Laurel Street you'd like, Dave, because that's all hardwood.
Thank you.
Well, I think if you're going to be I think if you're going to be legal about it, since it's an easement, the timber belongs to the landowner. So the landowner is entitled to the wood if we choose to cut the timber.
I'm sure the homeowners there won't mind.
Whatever, it doesn't matter. That's just the law.
And the other thing I just want to make you aware of is the flow meter, especially the Manchester flow meter in East Union Pump Station. It's been out for the last 2 weeks and they're having issues with the St. Hayes meter. So both of those are not tracking whatsoever. I've been in touch with AD Instruments about the Manchester meter in our facility. And I sent them pictures of everything we had so they could take a look at it before they actually come out to assess it or try to figure out why it's not working. And basically I was told if there's anything wrong with that meter, that whole system's junk. There's no fixing it. It's so old and outdated. We're looking at all new stuff.
Well, if we need it, we need to put it in because you got to have those meters working. So if you could continue to work with that company and if they make recommendations to be replaced, you're going to need to get some information and pricing on replacements, including labor and materials, and present them to the commission, Corey.
Yep, that's fine. They'll be out there. The quickest I can get them out there is the 28th of April. So they'll be out to look at everything and basically tell me, especially that whole station, what we have there and what we're looking at.
Well, while you're on the subject of pump stations, I went by the Elm Street pump station tonight at around 5 o'clock, I guess. And there was 3 cars parked in the issue or what, but it just needs to be acknowledged by all the commissioners that it looks like it was a parking lot down there. Tonight there was 3 cars jammed in down there. There was no room to even drive in there.
Corey is correct. I've seen fishermen opposite the pump station and the factory site all day.
All right, well, if no one has a problem with the
It
parking, we
seems-
can let them do it.
The only issue that I
We
see,
should, yeah.
Go ahead, Dave.
No, nothing further to add. Thank you.
Corey, what were you going to say?
all I had to say on that is the only issue I can see with it is it could be a fire hazard. I mean, if something went wrong and a fire truck needed to get down there, there's legit no room.
All right, well, why don't you, we'll discuss it at our next meeting. We don't have to make any decisions tonight. If it involves signage or something, we'll do what we have to do. And after you make a recommendation, look into it a little more, Corey, and give us some more information at the next meeting. Corey, you didn't report that the industrious commissioner helped you put your shelves in your sea container finally.
Oh, yes. The shelves are all built and I actually started emptying out that old army box today. So anything good and savable is now out of that old box and in the new one.
It only took me 9 months to get down there and help Corey build the shelves, but they're done. Okay, anything else for the meeting tonight from anybody?
Nope.
Okay, well then I'll look for a motion to adjourn. I should have asked. Lynn
This is
before that
Dave. Motion to adjourn.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Were you gonna ask something, Tim?
I'm just gonna make sure Lynn didn't have anything for us before I let the motion go through.
No, I don't. Thank you.
Sorry. Okay, so there's a motion to adjourn. Commissioner Taylor. Okay. Been made and seconded. We'll have a roll call vote. Commissioner Taylor?
Yes.
Commissioner Pierce?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Thank you, everyone, for attending tonight. We are, oh, I didn't close the public hearing, Lynn, so the public hearing is closed
Okay.
after the motion was made. Maybe you can stick it in ahead of the motion somehow.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, everyone.